Hello, everyone, and we are back at the Staking Summit. This year in 2025, we are at Argentina, Buenos Aires, for this year's edition, and we're kicking things off with Alan from SSV Network, CEO. Thanks for joining us and for being the first one here for our podcast this year. I guess SSV is one of the pioneers in decentralized validation, right? I guess for people who are not aware of what you do, could you give us like a little bit of a rundown of what is your business and how you got here to where you are now?
Yeah. So when we started around 4 years ago, we got into staking because that was a transformative change to Ethereum, right? Ethereum went from its worked with a stake, and we thought that the infrastructure there was really, really interested. We really wanted to make the most robust infrastructure for Ethereum staking, because ultimately, the more robust that infrastructure is, the more robust Ethereum is, because ultimately validators are the one that keep the state valid and just indicate it for everyone what is the state of Ethereum. And so we started with distributed validators around 4 years ago. And 2 years ago, we actually launched Mainnet. We grew quite rapidly throughout those 2 years, almost 2 years now. Currently, with around 5 million ETH at stake, the second largest staking infrastructure on Ethereum. And really aiming, and our vision is really to make Ethereum staking kind of the basis or the ground for everything that's happening on Ethereum in the most robust and decentralized way, true to the vision and kind of core beliefs of Ethereum itself. And so this is kind of what SSV has been doing the past few years. And we actually grew quite rapidly because of kind of the innovative ways we approach staking. We first were to introduce this idea of an infrastructure that enables you to earn more rewards as you use it. And that was very, very successful. And now we're actually kind of probably doing the biggest change for the protocol economics we ever made, with the idea of SSV staking and positioning SSV as this is a cruel token. And so we've been very hard at work on both scaling SSV, but also redefining what the economics and incentives within staking, obviously outside of ETH rewards themselves, what you could do outside of that. And I think we were pretty innovative in that, and we kind of that's what got us to capture so many validators to come on SSV.
All right, nice. It's pretty interesting that you're speaking about this ether accrual system. Like, I've been reading upon it, and I know you're going to speak today about it. Could you go a little bit deeper into how this works? So I know you have the SSV token, right? And that you are planning on launching the staking of it. And I guess this is the system that you're going to use to kind of capture the Ethereum rewards and distribute it through the holders of the token, or the stakers of the token in this case. So could you expand a little bit more
Yeah.
on how that is going to work?
So if you break down why people do staking for Ethereum, there are mainly two reasons. One is obviously to secure Ethereum itself. I think most people are not necessarily thinking about that when they're doing staking. They're actually thinking about the second reason, which is they want to increase the amount of ETH they have, right? So in essence, ETH staking is an ETH accrual mechanism for anyone who already has Ethereum, right? So you lock your ETH, you earn extra ETH in securing the network. And this is a very aligned thing for Ethereum, right? You're basically long on Ethereum, both because you cannot easily get out or into staking. I mean, even if you look at the queues today, it's around a month and a half to just withdraw your assets out. So there is some friction in that. But also you want to increase the amount of ETH you have. So this is very kind of double betting on Ethereum, right? SSV is exactly the same in terms of the technology because we are exclusively for ETH. We're not doing staking on anywhere else. Our whole existence is to build a better infrastructure to secure Ethereum. And so it made sense for us to kind of think about what is the next step. And so everyone who is on SSV want to secure Ethereum in the best way they can and earn more ETH doing so. And so with SSV staking and positioning SSV to be this ETH accrual token, this is exactly what we're trying to do. So we need people to stake their SSV to secure the network, and we can talk about what exactly that function looks like. But ultimately, what will happen is if you secure SSV and basically help SSV become a better protocol, you'll get rewards. And the cool part about it is those rewards are in ETH, in actual ETH. And what we did was, and the reason why it clicked so well for us is because of the scale of SSV. If you plug in the numbers of the current market, right? So imagine that SSV staking was available today, and you plug in the ETH price, amount of ETH staked on SSV, the APR on Ethereum staking and the amount of network fee SSV is taking. If you plug in all of those numbers, plus assume that 25% of all of the SSV will be staked, which is pretty high numbers, you'll get more than 30% rewards in ETH paid for SSV staking. This is unheard of. This is not something which is available anywhere else, including Ethereum staking itself. This is almost 10x more than what you get on Ethereum staking. And it kind of mixes the two things I like most in crypto, which is SSV and Ethereum. So it makes so much sense for everything. It aligns perfectly the SSV holders to the actual growth of the network. It aligns the actual users of the network because they earn SSV with the incentivized mining by staking to SSV their ETH, and then they can stake those SSV to earn more ETH. And so it's a very interesting mechanism. It's not by chance or by accident that we call it an ETH accrual token because it is exactly what it is. I mean, it's a way for you to earn more ETH to your portfolio. It's so and the cool part about it is actually it helps a lot the SSV protocol in two main areas. One is when you stake your validator through SSV today, because all of the accounting is on chain, we have something called liquidation collateral. So basically, you need to have some kind of a balance in SSV in order to pay fees, and we have some kind of a minimum collateral amount so that if you don't have enough runway in your payments, you can get liquidated. Your account can get liquidated. And that's a friction point because for every validator you run, you need to have more and more liquidation collateral. And the second part is that with the recent Ethereum changes, every validator is no longer just 32 ETH. And so with ETH staking, we are trying to solve both of those issues. So ETH staking, you're delegating your vote, quote unquote, to a committee of oracles, a decentralized committee of oracles that are essentially reporting back the every cluster's balance. That enables us to do on-chain accounting for your actual balance in your validators, and then obviously from that calculate how much network fee in ETH you need to pay. But it also completely eliminates the liquidation collateral. And so it actually makes the protocol much easier to use because you need less capital to use it and less friction. And so it helps SSV to become a better product. In return, those network fees are going back to those SSV stakers. And it's kind of a win-win situation for everyone. And again, because of the scale of SSV, the rewards rate is quite remarkable. And so that's what kind of sets SSV staking to be very unique.
Yeah, I found your calculator tool, and I was just amazed. Like it's for the current market conditions, we're talking about a very high APR right? For the similar thing that you can do by yourself, right? Just run a validator, but they're a little bit of a different approach, and you get a much higher return. So I guess it's a very nice incentive for validators, I would say. If I'm correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the staking is not yet live, correct?
So the staking is not yet live. I'll actually talk about the roadmap ahead, but from a high-level point of view, we've been researching it for the past few months, and now we're starting the implementation phase. We're hoping to finish implementation by end of year, and then early next year, we're going to start with audits and DAO proposals, and hopefully by end of Q1, we'll be fully on and ready with SSV stake.
Amazing, man. That sounds really promising, and I hope to get to see it soon. I think it's safe to say that you guys are like on the verge of this, on the barriers of the technology innovation, right? It's one of the most innovative things that we've seen around. Now, going back like to the staking, ecosystem as a whole, what do you see as like the next big innovation that's coming next year for stake?
So I think what will happen with staking is it's actually going to expand beyond staking. So if you look at the Ethereum validator set on Ethereum today, it's the most amazing infrastructural component I think that ever was built for crypto. You have thousands and thousands of unique validators running and all the time doing a consensus on the most valuable smart contract platform in the world, right? And obviously not securing just Ethereum, also securing a bunch of rollups, right? That sit on top of Ethereum. And so to your question, I think repurposing those validators to do more than just staking on Ethereum is something that will take shape and form in the next few years. And actually, at SSV Lab, we've been working on exactly that. So we have a project that we recently announced called Compose. And Compose is this kind of mid to long-term attempt to repurpose or harness the validator set on SSV to solve probably the biggest problem Ethereum has today, which is interoperability between rollups. And so, the problem itself is very easy to explain. Just you have a bunch of rollups. That this is how you scale Ethereum.
Yep.
The problem is those rollups currently are considered independent chains, even though they're all settled and secured by Ethereum.
Yep.
And in order for it to feel like a giant Ethereum ecosystem, we need a way between those rollups to make transactions as seamless as those transactions are on Ethereum.
Yeah.
And in kind of the more technical realm, it's called interoperability between those rollups. Up until now, all of the interop solutions were kind of like a kind of a small fix or a kind of a temporary fix on something which is much bigger than I think than the actual fix itself. And so with Compose, we're trying to create what is known as synchronous composability between rollups, which is a fancy way to say transactions look and feel like they are part of Ethereum.
Yeah.
Literally, it's instant. It's synchronous and atomic, meaning if you execute immediately, you can make a very expressive type of transactions and so on. So things like bridging between rollups become instant.
Yeah.
Cross-chain swaps, cross-chain flash loans, all of those things become just frictionless. And the cool part about Compose is that although it's an independent project, it's built on top of SSV validators, and it will drive value or rewards back to SSV validators.
Oh.
And so that's going to be the next iteration, I think, for validators at large, which is expanding beyond what just securing Ethereum is.
Okay, right.
I think that's going to play a major role in the future of stake.
So yeah, instead of just the security part that all validators already do, you can add some layers to it to help. Yeah, with the decentralization. Okay, really nice. Well, I want to thank you, Alan, for being with us. And yeah, we'll plug in your socials and in the comments for sure. And again, thanks. I don't know if you have any messages for any of the community members.
Yeah, I mean, check out SSV Staking as we develop it and move forward with it. Just go to ssv.network or look at us up on Twitter. Yeah, we're very excited about it. This is probably by far the biggest change we have ever made to the protocol.
All right, sounds pretty exciting. Thanks again. Thank you guys. See you again soon.